Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video I am still at the Las Vegas premiere. It is Saturday morning as of right now, waiting for my Classic Instructed event at 12:30. It's like what, 8:25 here. My body's still on Central Time, so I'm waking up at like 6 a.m. right now. But today I want to kind of get into what my initial thoughts at a FI deck would look like and just kind of give you all, where my head's at. Now, this deck list obviously is just in theory crafting, right? I haven't tested for hours and hours or anything like that. This is just fun. I think that FI initially I'm going to go with a full Draconic build, but I'll kind of give different types of builds as time goes on, especially once I get home and all the cards get uploaded in FabDB and stuff like that. We'll be able to really, dive into it. But for today, I'm kind of going to go over some of the cards, put the images on screen. Some people might not be used to all of these, and just kind of go through where my initial thoughts are on the deck as a whole. So for the equipment, the top section that you see is the main board. Mask Momentum's obvious, like anyone who's played Ninja at all. It's a must-have in the deck. It's never going to come out ever. You don't play FI without Mask Momentum. If you are a new player and you want to play FI and you just want to play casually, it's totally fine. But if you want to play competitively at all, you're going to need Mask Momentum. Fyndal Spring Tunic is in my main board right now. I do like the Flame Scale Furnace. It is a very good card, but Tunic's just too good a value at the moment. If you don't have Tunic or Furnace, you're wanting for more budget value, I would probably go with Deep Blue or Vest of the First Fist as my alternative options. In CC, I'm running Stubby Hammers. It's pretty bonkers with FI as a whole. And in Blitz, since it's banned as of 2 weeks from now, I probably would run Tiger Stripe, Shuko, or Heatwave. And then for my legs, Snapdragon Scaler is still the best legs that Ninja can have as a whole for the most part. My only weapon, and I'm never running anything else, is Emberblade. After running it in the sealed event yesterday and then doing some fun games with other people, like even with an untuned FI deck, this weapon is still nuts. I originally thought maybe put Kadachi's in the sideboard for like Prism, but you can go wide enough to kill Prism's auras and kill her spectral shields and stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Searing Emberblade's so good as a second attack, because especially with Mask of Momentum, you're going to be threatening Mass Trigger with a 3-power attack instead of a Kadachi. But it's also still a weapon, so they can't just like block something like a 2-block or block of the equipment. They have to block it with a card from hand, and it's really nice. So that's my main board. In the bottom, I'll knock out the easy stuff first. Spellfray Gloves and Null Rune Robe. So I'm running these two in combination with Tide Flippers there because it gives me Arcane Barrier 2 and Spell Void 1. It allows me to just pop. One, it allows me to pop Spell Void if I absolutely need to without commanding more resources from hand. And my thought process is, if you are pitching a blue to stop Arcane as a Ninja, you're probably already losing. So for me, it's more, trying to, just mitigate that a little bit. It could obviously change, but right now I'd rather run a little bit of Spell Void in there. I might end up switching it out. Who knows? But overall, I think that is probably the best play. But that could easily change. And then we have Flamescale Furnace, obviously, in the sideboard. This is for when you want to have a lot of armor and a lot of like blocking in your matchups, right? I probably would put this in against like a Bravo. I might put this in against the Mirror. That way I can block a little bit more. The game's probably not going to go long enough for Tunic to even matter. So Flamescale Furnace would be something I put in. Just the 3-block with Temper is really nice, and you can use its ability if you needed to, which is you pay 1 resource and you gain 1 for each red card in your pitch zone. Activate this ability only if you've played a red card this turn. So if you've had a really long FI chain, right, maybe like 6-7 links, maybe you drew into a couple cards with Tome of Firebrand or something, and you've pitched like 2 or 3 reds, or like 2 reds and a blue, then you just paid their last resource on your blue, gain 2 resources from Flamescale. It's definitely situational, its ability, but 3 blocks just really good. Tiger Stripe Shuko, I keep telling people, like, this, depending on what your FI build is, this could be in your main board, but right now for me, it's my sideboard. I would use this in Blitz, or just use this in, in matchups where I need the block a little bit more. If Starvo is still around, this would definitely be really good to have. But yeah, in like the Mirror or something like that, just having like 2, you'll have 3 block from Flamescale, 2 block from Shuko, 2 block from Mask if you absolutely have to use it. So, you have, 7 block in your equipment, and for a ninja, that's just pretty nutty. But definitely stubby hammers are probably the main for right now. And then Tide Flippers. Tide Flippers are basically a buffed up Null Room Boots. So they have the Arcane Barrier 1, but then you can destroy them, and target attack action card with 2 or less base gains Go Again. This won't be as applicable in the build I'm about to show you, but if you had kind of a more low to the ground build, then it might prove really useful. So that was the equipment. We're going to bring up the loadout here, and then first we're going to bring up our cards, our red cards. They're not all uploaded in FabDB, so I figured this would be the easiest way to show you. You can definitely take a screenshot of it. But this is initially, like, if I had access to all the cards right now, this would be the first deck I would be hardcore testing. And I can kind of talk through some of these cards because I used them yesterday and played against them. So overall, not too bad. All right, so you can see on the left the heroes and equipment, obviously, and then the sideboard for the equipment is over there. For reds, first we're starting with Spreading Flames. This card's just nuts. Draconic attacks you control have +1 while their base is less than the number of Draconic chain links you control. If you can pop this card with an Inflame, this was the first card in my 44 damage 5 turn, 43 damage 5 turn video I did. It's just nuts because you can play this card, and then you play Emberblade, which isn't going to get the buff, right? Let's say you don't even get the Dream Hand, which is this into Inflame. Or I guess we can talk about the ideal situation. The ideal situation is you get this card into Inflame. So you get this card for 3. Then Inflame normally comes in for 1. It's going to come in for 2. And then you play it. So that's 5 damage. And then what you do is you play Emberblade if you want. Or no, you don't play Emberblade. You pay 1 resource to go get a Phoenix Flame. Phoenix Flame will then get +1 from its own ability and +1 from this ability. Or the Phoenix Flame you got from Inflame. Yeah, let me rephrase that. So you play Spreading Flames for 3, then you play Inflame it will come in for 2 because of the +1. Inflame, you can go get a Phoenix Flame, play the Phoenix Flame for 2, then you can activate Phi's ability, play the Phoenix Flame for 2 again, then you can play Emberblade, and Emberblade will have +1 because now you're on Chainlink 5, so it's going to come in for 4, and you still have probably 2 cards in hand, or 1 card in hand, right, depending on how your resources were, and that you were threatening Mass Trigger and all sorts of stuff. So it basically is like, in a perfect situation, it's going to give you're going to get like +4, +5 over the whole turn. And even in a bad situation, you're going to get +2, +3, which is pretty nuts to me. And it's only a 1 cost, and it comes in for 3 Go Again. So it's still really good on its own. So for Phi, I think it's kind of a must-have, in my opinion. It's one of the key cards in the deck. The next one is Phoenix Form. This is kind of, so at its base, this is just, basically a 3 Go Again, because you're almost always going to have a Phoenix Flame most turns, hopefully. If you control 2 Phoenix Flames, then it gets +2, so it's for, 5 Go Again. And if you control all 3 Phoenix Flames, when it hits, draw 3 cards. So, you play this for 0 for 5 late in the chain, because if you have control of 3 Phoenix Flames, odds are you're probably on Chainlink 6 or 7, and you probably drew into this card, or it was like the last card in your hand. So like they've already blocked Mass Trigger once, maybe twice, and now they have to block this 0 for 5 Phoenix Form, or otherwise you draw 3 cards and it has Go Again. So if you can get all 3 Dragon or Flames off and then play this late in the chain, it's really hard for your opponent, and it's really frustrating for them. And then if you have a buff to this, it's even better. Even yesterday in Sealed, I got all 3 Phoenix Flames off in 1 turn. So, like, Sealed, untuned Phi deck got 3 Phoenix Flames off. So it's definitely possible, and, you can do it. The next one's Mounting Anger. When Mounting Anger hits, you may banish an attack action card from your hand with cost less than the number of Draconic chain links you control. If you do, it gains +1. You may play this turn. So this is perfect as your second attack. So if you come in with like a 0 cost Go Again card, and then you play this for 4, and then you banish like another 0 cost Go Again card, and then you play that, and it gets +1. Like it buffs off itself. So like you play like, I don't know, like a Ronin Renegade 0 for 3 for Go Again. Then you play Mounting Anger. For 1 for 4 Go Again, you banish like a Rising Resentment, and then you play Rising Resentment for 4. It keeps buffing itself, and it's really nice. It's a good card, definitely a little bit not super situational, but a little bit situational. So I have to see how it goes after a lot of testing, but overall, really good card. Then you have Blaze Headlong. Blaze Headlong, if you play another red card this turn, it gains Go Again. Really easy to get off. Almost always going to get this off, I would think. It's just basically a 0 for 4 Go Again is the way I look at it, because literally 9 times out of 10 you're going to be able to play a red card prior to this. So, but we'll have to see once everything gets going more. Then you have Lava Vein Loyalty. This card is really good overall. It's a 0 for 3 Go Again. Again, like, you might get unlucky and not have you need to have a Go Again starter in your hand most of the time, and a lot of these are Go Again starters over half the deck, but there's a once or twice where you might get caught out with this in hand with no Go Again starter, so it gets a little bit difficult. But then you just play Emberblade, or not Emberblade, but you play, you could pitch a blue, go get a Phoenix Flame, then play this, then play Emberblade if you want. Like, those aren't ideal plays, but even at worst, you can still get this Go Again off and, continue your turn. Then we have Rising Resentment, which is when Rising Resentment hits, you may banish an attack action card from your hand with cost less than the number of Draconic Chain Links you control. If you do, it costs 1 less to play, and you may play it this turn. So if you play this with Mounting Anger, it gets pretty nuts. So if you play like a Ronin Renegade into a Rising Resentment, and then you can banish a Mounting Anger, and then play Mounting Anger for free, and then banish another card and play that for +1. So they really like bounce off of each other, and at worst it's a 0 for 3 Go Again, which is really nice. Then we have Rise Up. This card is just nuts. If you play it on Chainlink 4 or higher, which is not hard at all with Vi, it has Dominate and gains +X, where X is twice the number of Phoenix Flames in your control. So if you control 1 Phoenix Flame, it's going to get +2. If you control 2 Phoenix Flames, it's going to get +4. And if you control all three, it's going to get +6. So it's going to come in, for 5, 7, or 9, depending on how you do it. So at worst, it's 5 Dominate, and at best, it's 9 Dominate. So pretty nuts. We had a couple guys play this card to finish games yesterday that pulled it. It's at rare too, so it's a pretty good card. I had 2 in the deck, but I put 3 just to see how it goes. Then Tome of Firebrand. I only have 2 of these in the deck. This is an amazing card. I'm just going to be curious to see how often you can actually get it off. Because play Tome of Firebrand only if you control 4 or more Draconic Chain Links, draw 2 cards. So basically the way this is going to have to work ideally is you play a Go Again starter that's 0 cost. Then you pitch a blue to play Emberblade, which will give you 2 links. You have 1 floating, and then you play another card. So now you've used 3 cards from hand, and then this is basically going to have to be off a 5-card hand is what I'm trying to say, or off a Tunic Resource, because you're going to have to use all 4 cards most of the time to play this before it, because you're going to have to pitch for Emberblade, unless you have a bunch of 0 cost cards, because like the normal turn, not the ideal turn, is you play a 0 cost Go Again, you pitch a blue for Emberblade, which gets you to 2 links, you play another 0 cost Go Again card, which gets you to 3 links, you still have 1 floating, then you go get Phoenix Flame, that gives you your 4th link, then you play this card, right? So you could do this off a 4-card hand. It's not super hard. I just think it might be a little situational, because you basically need a blue to get this to work. Or 4 0 cost Go Again cards, which is possible, but ideally you want a blue in hand to get this to work. So I have 2 in the deck right now. We'll see how it goes. But it's a really good card. I'll automatically draw 2 cards. Uprising, I have 2 of these. Your next 4 Draconic attacks gain +1. In my full Draconic build, that basically means my next 4 attacks period get +1. This is good off a 5-card hand. You play this from Arsenal. Then you play like a Ronin Renegade for 4. Then you pitch a blue, play Emberblade for 4. You have 1 floating, then you play another attack for like 4 or 5, then you go get a Phoenix Flame, it's going to come in for 2, so like you can really get the full +4. Ideally it's a 0 cost +4 buff, so really, really good, and yeah, definitely include in the deck. Then you have Flame Call Awakening. It's a 1 for 3 Go Again that goes and gets you a Phoenix Flame from your deck, which is really nice. If you haven't gotten your Phoenix Flames early in the game, that's the only thing about Fi is if you go like 4 or 5 turns without seeing your second Phoenix Flame, it can start to feel really bad, because you still can have good turns, but you can't have great turns. So ideally, honestly, you want 2 Phoenix Flames in grave, in my opinion, and then 1 that you can go get for late game. That's just how I would look at it. But having 3 of these in hand, or the 3 of these in your deck will be really useful for that. Then you have Inflame, which is what I talked about earlier with Spreading Flames. This is really good, right, for going and gain a Phoenix Flame from your grave. You play Flame Call, go get it from hand, or go get it from your deck. Then you play Inflame, go get it from your grave. Now you have 2 Phoenix Flames to play with, and you play Ember Blade for 3, and then you play your 2 Phoenix Flames out or something like that, and then you can go get another card. It's just really good for go wide turns. It only comes in for 1. It's basically like a Kodachi, but then it's a Kodachi that goes and gets you another Kodachi, except neither one of them costs anything. So really good. Then obviously our 3 Phoenix Flames, nothing much to say there. Ronin Renegade, I had to take a picture of this for my own cards because they don't have a good quality card. It's a 0 for 3 go again. It's basically a Draconic head jab. That's the best way to look at it. Really good for combo starting, or not combo starting, but chain link starting in your deck. So really good card. Dust Runner Outlaw, same thing. It's basically a Draconic leg tap. It's a 1 for 4 go again. These cards are key in your deck because they're good on Chain Link 1 to then go and play Ember Blade to then go and do something else. So it's just really useful for that. Then we have Combustion Point. This card is disgusting. It's a Ninja Route, all right? So you get +1 on a Draconic or Ninja attack action card, and you banish a non-equipment defending card with less than the number of Draconic chain links you control with defense less. So if you play this on like Chain Link 4, you can get rid of a 3 block. If you play it on Chain Link 5, you can get rid of a defense reaction. And if you play it on Chain Link 3, you can get rid of a 2 block. It's just really good because it's only a +1 buff. But if you play this on Chain Link 4 and then you route a 3 block to their banish zone, it's basically a +4 because you're routing away 3 defense and you're giving it +1. So overall, awesome. It's only 1 cost too. So yeah, that's the reds as we're looking at it. And then for the only yellows, we're running Art of War. Two yellow Art of Wars. Art of War is weird for me, right? I won't go super in depth, but this card is either going to be amazing in Fi or absolutely horrible, like even worse than Katsu. Because with Katsu, I'll say why. So on a good turn, right, you have a blue or you're off a Tunic resource, you play this, you banish 1 card, you draw 2, you're doing really good. But if you don't have a Tunic resource, or don't have a way to use it to give it get a resource to not have to commit a card, it kind of isn't as good with 5 because let's say you have a blue and 3 reds in hand and it's an arsenal. You play it out arsenal, you pitch a blue for it, then you're gonna discard 1 so you can draw 2. So now you've used 3 of your 5 card hand. You're down to 2 cards technically, and then you're gonna draw 2 back up to 4 cards, which isn't that bad. But the crappy thing about it is in Katsu, discarding a card to go draw 2 wasn't always as bad because you could discard a combo card that you don't really need, right? But with this, I'm telling you right now, even with an untuned sealed Fi deck, like every attack was useful. Every single attack. So you're going to be discarding cards that you probably don't even want to discard, to be honest. And there's going to be a lot of ice, a lot of fatigue in this meta, and you're discarding more cards, getting rid of cards faster. We'll just have to see. Initially, Art of War sounds really, really good in Fi, and I'm definitely going to try it. But I think that you could easily not play this card and put in like 1 more Uprising and then 1 more one of something else that you really want, or heck, even 3 Tome of Firebrands, and really just run straight blue-reds in this deck. So we'll have to see. It's going to take a lot of testing, but my initial thoughts is I want to try it, but I truly don't think Art of War is going to be the best thing to have in this deck. That's just my opinion. Then getting into our blues, we have Rise from the Ashes. Really good. It's a 2 block. We're not worried about 3 blocks as much with Fi, but what this can do is, if we have like an all 0 cost hand, we really don't need a blue. We can, or we have 2 blues in hand maybe. We play this out, gives our next attack +1, and we can go get a Phoenix Flame. Super nice. You play this and then play a Ronin Renegade for 4. Go get that Phoenix Flame. Then your Phoenix Flame's going to come in for 1. Then you can play Ember Blade. Then you can go get another Phoenix Flame. Just really good to chain link attacks together. Then you have Cinderskin Devotion. This, in my opinion, is just a 3-block blue. That can be good if you absolutely have to use it, but really it's just a really solid 3-block blue that has conditional go again. Same thing with this, Lava Vein Loyalty, a 3-block blue that has conditional go again, 0 cost for 1 if you absolutely need to use it. Then you have Rising Resentment. This is only 2-block, but its ability is really useful, right? Like if you have all 0 cost cards in your hand or 2 blues and you don't really need to pitch for this or use this for pitch, you can play it on the second chain link. And then, banish a 1 cost card. Like if you have 3 blue, like if you have 2 reds and one of them is a Mounting Anger and then you have this and then another blue, you could play the 0 cost red, play this, banish the Mounting Anger, then play it for free and you still have that blue. You technically haven't used any resources, so it's really nice. And then we have Ronin Renegade. It's basically a Draconic blue head jab. It's a 1 go again, 2 block. Just really helps with our aggro strategy. So that's that one. And then the sideboard, I didn't put them in here, but for the sideboard, as you can see on the right, you have Thaw, which helps us get rid of ice afflictions or ice. All my sideboards for ice. And then 3 extra blues. If we run into an Icelander or Ice Lexi, I'm going to go up to 18 blues. And then Liquefy is really good to get rid of people's equipment. It basically allows you, to, as an attack reaction, to liquefy someone's, or give a -1 counter to someone's equipment. And if it's at 0, then it kills it. And this also, just to keep everybody in mind, it works on Snapdragon Scalers. It works on Crown Dichotomy. If it has a defense value, which can be 0, like if you could technically block with it, because you can technically block with Snapdragon Scalers, right? Or can technically block with Crown because it has a zero defense value, then you can liquefy it. So really good for that. But yeah, overall, this is what I'm working with. Definitely take a screenshot of it. Let me know what you think. Again, just initial builds for fun. But I think that it's going to be a decent build going into the future. It's a full Draconic build. In the future, I'm going to do like full Draconic build ideas. I'm going to do like what I would call Rupture build ideas. I'm going to do a mixed idea where you have some Ninja, some Draconic, even though I don't think that's going to be as viable with Fi. And then I'm going to do Blitz and Commoner builds so everybody can kind of get used to everything. When I get back, I'm going to do a lot of those. Yeah. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not, go to another Fleshblood Courier, do the same thing for them. Let me know what Fi stuff you would like to see, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.